Don't miss it.
This is Perth Tonight with Chris Ilsley on 882 6PR.
Must be time to talk technology with our man, Ben Aylett from Easy Wireless. BenAylett.com sure is the website. It's where you'll find also his contact information, identified by his Hawaiian shirt.
That's me.
Which actually, I don't think they should be worn anymore. They should kind of erupt. It just seems such a Hawaiian thing to do right now.
Actually, speaking of Hawaiian and eruptions, now people who have access to Facebook or YouTube, just go and look for live video feeds from Hawaii.
Okay.
There's a couple of, there's one on Facebook I've found, and by the same people on the same property, they've got the same thing on YouTube. And that the YouTube one is Civil Beat. But just search for live Hawaii eruption and you will see a live stream of things like cinder cones and lava lakes and streams, and it is just amazing to watch. And with the time difference, if you go and watch it during the day, it's their nighttime, and the vision you get from it is spectacular. So you see the red lava, the black sky, and it's just amazing to watch. It's really, really good. Yeah, so
You've
highly
nerded
recommend
out
it.
over all of that, haven't you?
Well, I'm not much of a volcanologist, but look, seeing molten rock being thrown into the air, it's kind of spectacular. And just knowing that that's what's happening right there on the other side of the planet right now, it's it just really illustrates how powerful the internet's become and how it really brings things together. It's just amazing. Really, really cool.
Yeah. Now, you kind of caught me out with that one because I never picked you as a volcano nerd.
Well, look, anything.
Well, I suppose you like anything online that kind of appears spectacular. That's a fair comment, isn't it?
I'm like any other guy. I dig stuff that's on fire. I mean, fire is cool to start with.
Yeah.
And technology and fire, I mean, technology is cool, fire is cool. You put them together, you get really cool.
Yeah. What is it about us blokes and our, pyromaniacal inclinations? When I was a kid, my grandfather used to burn everything. I loved it. When he went away for a holiday, I decided to burn some stuff in his absence, nearly burnt the house down.
Yeah, I think it's the caveman that's sort of left behind in all of us, isn't it?
Well, it goes back to the time when we were satisfied, really loved fire because we managed to create it with 2 sticks.
Exactly, yes.
Let's have a chat to Mark.
G'day, guys. Love the segment as always.
Thanks very much, Mark.
Just a quick question. I'm just doing a bit of wandering on the net, and I've come across a mobile called a OnePlus 6.
Uh-huh.
I was wondering if the reviews are absolutely sensational.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if the if the performance lives up to the hype.
Good question.
That is a really good question. I have not managed to get my hands on the OnePlus 6 as it is, but...
Who makes it, by the way?
One. the company One. There is a mobile phone company out there. They're called One, just like there's a HTC and a ZTE and a Huawei and an Apple.
Yep.
I mean, Apple, that's a funny name for a product, isn't it? When you really think about it. So the One Plus, the One Plus 6, has been getting rave reviews. And I think the big draw card is the price. So you actually so you're getting a lot of phone for not a lot of money. And so it does seem to be a big bargain. I honestly can't say how much of a bargain it is because I haven't managed to get my hands on it. And to be honest, I haven't had much time to have a look at the specs lately. So look, it does sound good. The hype I've been hearing around it from trusted sources has been positive. So I think you would be hard-pressed to find a phone of equal or better value. I think by all sounds, it's pretty awesome.
One thing that really attracted it to me was apparently it's got 6 gig of RAM on board.
Yep.
Which is absolutely insane.
It's cavernous, yes, huge. Okay, so yeah, the RAM is just like computers. So the RAM is it's sort of like the size of the desktop, the amount of things you can do at once. So the more RAM, the more programs it can run at once, and basically the more things it can do at once. So it's just like a computer. The storage, that's still storage, but the RAM, that's where the speed's at. So more RAM means it can do more things and it does it quicker. Mm.
All right, Ben, thanks for that. I really appreciate it.
No worries, but I will be taking a look. So thanks very much for that, Mark.
It gives you a reminder. 922-11882, the number if you'd like to have a chat to Ben, by the way. And don't forget, you can get in touch with Ben by jumping onto his website, benaylett.com. And you'll find all of his contact information there.
10 questions, 10 correct answers. The $1,000 minute for... On 882 6PR, this is Perth Tonight with Chris Ilsley.
Yeah, Ben Aylett's here talking technology. Mark wants a word with you. G'day, Mark.
Oh, g'day, guys.
G'day, Mark.
I've got a question about, I think, automatic gain on audio devices.
Uh-huh.
I've got got a Bluetooth phone thing, a Bluetooth digital stereo in my car.
Right.
The phone is up on this sun visor.
Mm.
But I find that if I'm driving and I'm speaking in just a normal voice,
Yep.
that it's actually clearer than speaking on the phone. And I'm just wondering how that works.
All right. And so, sorry, I just need to clarify. What do you mean by normal voice?
Well, just the voice I'm speaking in now. In other words, I don't think to myself, the microphone's a long way away, I've got to shout. So I'm not shouting to make myself heard because of the distance of the microphone away. I'm just speaking as though the microphone is right next to the phone, but it isn't. But somehow the distance between me and the microphone is somehow compensating for.
Okay, and this is with a Bluetooth thing on the visor, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably because when they design these Bluetooth units, they've already got in mind that the source of the sound is going to be this far away. So they've already worked out that you're going to be so far away from the microphone, and they tune the microphone to that. So that's the simple thing. They said, yep, this is how it's going to be used. We're going to design it to how it's going to be used. And hey, presto, look at that. It works.
Okay.
Simple as that. Yeah.
No worries. That's technology.
There you go. Yeah, that's technology. That's people engineering stuff. And hey, look at that. It works. It's awesome.
Thanks very much for that,
Thank
Mark.
you, Mark.
By the way, if you'd like to give us a buzz, 922 118 82. Got a horrible habit of making that stuff sound really simple, mate.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, listen, by the way, for the first time, we've got our Facebook page set up. We put it live over the weekend. So if you want to go to 6PR Perth Tonight on Facebook, you can like our page.
Yeah, please do that. And,
just so you know, in future we might sort of do some of the podcasting of the show through the Facebook page. But just letting you know about that. Now, something else that has popped up. This is one of those things where people go, "Oh, please, not again." 500,000 consumer routers compromised.
Yep.
That's never going to be a good thing.
No, you know you're going to have a bad day when there's 500,000 consumer routers that have been compromised. And it is what is suspected to be a state-backed cyber offensive. Now, we'll delve into this a little deeper, but to start with, we'll just talk about the models that have been listed as at risk. So if you have one of the following routers, we'll go by the brands. I think that'll be easier. So if you've got a Linksys router, a MikroTik router, a Netgear router, or a TP-Link router, they may be vulnerable. If you need details, you go to my website, benaylett.com. There is the 500,000 consumer routers compromise story. You can go there, find the exact model. It also affects some QNAP network-attached storage devices. So if you've got a QNAP server or a QNAP NAS box, it's probably infected as well. Now, let's go into this. What it does, this is a very, very complex malware campaign. We suspect, we as in the general information security people on the internet, we suspect that this has been backed by a state actor because it is very, very sophisticated and it's very powerful. So,
should we blame the Russians again?
Yeah, okay, yes. That's one of the theories put forward. And just a couple of days ago, we actually had the FBI have claimed control of those 500,000 routers and the command and control servers, and they've managed to basically pull the plug on it all. And now, if you've got one of those affected routers, they recommend that you just reboot it, turn it off and back on again, and we're safe.
Kind of makes you wonder, though, isn't it? It just goes to show that the whole business of cybersecurity is just an ongoing problem.
Oh, tell me about it.
How are we going to make it people-proof? I mean, the one thing that people are less conscious of is cybersecurity, because it's not like other forms of safety where it's pretty obvious.
Yep.
It's one of those things which, to the average person, is totally unobvious.
Oh, well, that's one of the things I plan to change. Cybersecurity, when you break it down as far as where the attacks come from, how they happen, around about 95% of all cybersecurity events are a direct result of human interaction. So it's people doing the wrong things or the dumb things that let the bad guys in. 5% is down just to what we call zero-day attacks, or just attacks that have sort of leapt ahead of the defences of our systems. The other 95%, that's down to people doing the wrong things. And I can say from experience that a little education goes a long, long way. So I'm currently working with a customer as their Chief Information Cybersecurity Officer, or the Chief Information Officer, okay, whatever. And we are having some really good success with just training people on how to spot fake emails or scam emails. Just that has managed to catch quite a lot of attempts to breach our systems. There's even been testing on our defences, and we've passed with flying colours, all because of a little education. That's all it takes.
So typically how are people infected? Is this by opening infected emails or looking at something and somebody sends you an attachment, thinks, oh, this is cute?
Yep.
And yeah, I know over the weekend somebody said that their Facebook account had been hacked.
Yep.
And I said, you need to be careful of the people that you're accepting as friends.
Yeah.
And be very wary about accepting friend requests from people you don't know.
Yep.
And I said to this person, especially when you receive friend requests from well-endowed young females. Yes. I can assure you the person behind that has many things in mind, a hot date with you not being one.
No. And the only hot date they're interested in is with your bank account.
Yes, and they're going to get you to hand over the information.
That's right.
So those are the kind of things to watch. Mind you, how much responsibility do you think that some of the platforms themselves have to take for that?
Well, look, they are taking steps. So if you see something suspicious and it doesn't quite check out, you can report it, and those platforms do actually have a mechanism and a process to look at those profiles or look at those posts, and then they can make a decision usually pretty quickly, within 24 hours, to cancel that account or remove that post. They are really proactive because at the end of the day, this is their product. They've got to make sure that it's safe.
But these people, they just keep on coming.
Yep. They keep on coming because a lot of it's automated, or it's done by people who they don't cost a lot of money to employ by the hour, and they just sit there. So, in some developing country, they might have somebody sitting in an internet cafe just creating fake profile after fake profile after fake profile, and they just generate all these profiles. Then they send them off to whoever. That whoever then starts using those profiles to do whatever. It's almost a cottage industry. Well, it is. It is a cottage industry. Okay, here's an interesting fact. Cybercrime is going to be worth, by the year 2020, it's going to be worth $6 trillion a year.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be worth to the bad guys. That's how much it's going to cost businesses worldwide, $6 trillion. Now, that's a lot of dollars to wrap your head around.
Yeah, it is. And it also suggests that more and more we need to work out how to shut these people down.
Yeah, and I'm standing by the first idea of just educating people, because if we educate people...
Do you think that's going to be the magic bullet, so to speak?
I think it's not going to be the magic bullet, but it is going to go a long way to addressing that 95% of cybersecurity events that are caused by human error.
What steps do you think can be taken to stop people from being able to easily access people's information online?
All right. Well, what we've got to do, we've got to look at what the incentive is. So why do people do it? The main reason is for the money. So if they can convince you to hand over money, or if they can run some software on your computer, which then compromises, which then they can then sell to someone else for money. Yeah. It's all about the money. So what we have to do...
Show me the money.
Show me the money. So what we have to do at the end of the day, it's a lot like those Microsoft support scam callers. If you can waste their time, effectively wasting their money or their ability to make money, eventually they'll say, look, we're just not getting the return on investment on this, because at the end of the day, they're running a business. It's not a legal business, but they are still running a business.
Mind you, they could go through literally thousands of people and still get there. The reason being because in the country a lot of these people come from, the kind of money, even if you only get one payday in 1,000, it's going to be a huge payday.
Yeah. Okay, so if they're banking on one payday per 1,000, if we can knock it down to one payday per 2,000, then we're making progress. We don't have to wipe it out. We just have to get it to the point where it's no longer viable for them to keep going.
And that's what.
That's the trick. That's what I think we need to do. So we need to make it that hard for them to make money that they just simply go to something else. It might mean, dealing drugs or something else, like a more face-to-face type of crime. I don't know. But if we can sort of work together and educate each other on what is safe and what's not safe, then we can go a long way to defeating cybercrime. And I'm actually 100% behind training people and showing them how to protect themselves against the cyber criminals.
All right, if you'd like to have a chat to Ben Aylett, of course, he's from Easy Wireless. His website is benaylett.com, 1 L, 2 T's in Aylett.
Mm-hmm.
That's also where you'll find all of his contact information. But if you'd like to have a chat to him right now, 922 is the telephone number.
Perth Tonight. Perth Tonight with Chris Ilsley on 882 6PR.
922 is our telephone number. Ben Aylett's here from Easy Wireless. By the way, his website's benaylett.com. Remember, 1 L, 2 T's in Aylett. benaylett.com. All right, Ben, you
Yes.
like the hard questions.
Okay.
Can you explain what is GDPR?
GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation.
Is this the new regulations that have just come into force in the EU, is it?
Yes, they came into force on the 25th of May 2018. They've just come into force in the European Union.
Yep.
And it applies to any business or service that has customers or subscribers within the EU. And this is why we've been getting all these emails. It's to say we're updating our terms of service.
Yep.
And this...
Which nobody reads.
Well, yes. Nobody reads, but they're saying, hey, we've updated our terms of service. Yeah. We're now compliant with the GDPR, and these are your rights. And I've gone over it, and because it doesn't apply to us.
I find it interesting because Australia is one of the countries they're saying they're going to swap our Facebook feeds from going through Ireland to going through the United States as a way of getting around the regulations.
Okay, yeah, with Ireland, I can't quite remember. Ireland is still a part of the EU. Yeah. Okay, so what they're doing is if you're an island, then you've got to comply with the EU. But then I think they're doing some sort of jiggery-pokery, which is then putting the island customers within Great Britain. I don't know how that's working, but in general, you'll find because I'm sure a lot of people have been getting notices and emails about GDPR. And I've actually.
But the suggestion is they're moving it to the United States where they don't have anywhere near the privacy laws, and so therefore it's their simple way of getting around it.
Yeah, but the privacy laws, the way that I've read it, the privacy laws apply to the EU citizens, not the businesses. So if an EU citizen subscribes to a service, then they have a bunch of rights which are quite different.
Only if they remain within the EU.
At the moment, only if they remain within the EU, but the legislation says all EU citizens. It doesn't stipulate whether they are in the EU or abroad.
Well, if they're abroad, you can't enforce a law in one country and another. It doesn't work that way.
That's the interesting part. So that's the curly part, and the stick for getting it wrong is quite big. Now, how big? I'll tell you how big. It is fines of up to 20 million euros, which for some of the big companies it's nothing. But if it's if 4% of the
but if you've got a person who's outside of the country, you can't enforce that.
Yeah, well, that's the hard part. So that's what they're trying to.
I mean, if somebody, for example, from the EU happened to be in the United States, and then you said, well, okay, while they're in the United States, they didn't get the same sort of coverage they did in the EU, but they're an EU citizen. You can't apply it like that. And if you do, mate, I'll tell you now, it won't take much for these company lawyers to pull that one apart.
Well, look, the companies have been jumping as far as compliance goes because if it isn't 20 million euros, it's 4% of the annual global turnover, whichever is greater. So if we were to look at someone like, I don't know, Amazon, they'd be looking at a fine for failing to comply with GDPR. The fine would be around US $7 billion. So if they get it wrong, it's a mighty big stick they're going to be whacked with. And
I'd be interested to see if this is even going to stand up.
Yeah, well, we'll see how we go.
I mean, trust me, you're talking about people now who've been given an incentive to have the mother of all legal battles.
Oh, mate,
mate, apart from anything else, it's going to come about as how can one country's law be enforced in another? And I suspect what will happen is a lot of these companies will be based overseas. And the fact that somebody decides to deal with them online, they'll say, well, okay, you're dealing with a company overseas. You watch. I bet there'll be a way that comes around this.
I'd love to see it unfold.
Good day, Melvin.
Hi, how you going, Chris?
Good. Ben's listening to
Melvin.
Listen, I've got an iSense TV, and it's about 6 months old. Now, lately, it's starting to, when I turn it on, it comes up with colours, white, orange, green, and, whatever. The 4 colours anyway. Now, is this a bad sign? Should I get it returned or what?
So when you say it comes up with colours, are you talking like big vertical bars?
No, when I turn it on, it's just a blank screen. A white screen, a green screen, an orange screen,
Oh, okay. So it cycles
and a
through
blue
those.
screen.
Okay, so it cycles through those colours.
Yes, why is it doing this after 6 months? Fine, it was good, fine.
Yep.
First 6 months, it was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And now started to play it. Now, is this a bad thing? Do I have to return it or what?
Well, before we start returning it, let's have a look at a few basic things. What do you usually watch on this TV? Is it free-to-air TV, or have you got a Chromecast plugged into it, or an Apple TV, or a Telstra TV? Have you got some sort of a set-top box plugged into it?
No, nothing.
Nothing. All right. Do you have
nothing at all. Oh, another thing too. I should have slipped my mind now.
Oops. Yeah.
Bugger.
All right. We'll just quickly move on. So you've got an antenna plugged into it?
No.
No.
Oh, yeah, off the wall. Yeah.
All right. So what are you planning to watch on it?
Pardon? Oh, Netflix, all sorts of stuff.
Okay. So do you have something plugged into the TV to allow you to watch Netflix?
There's a hard drive there.
Yeah.
That has got plugged in.
Uh-huh.
And that's it.
All right. Now, usually when you have it cycle through colours like that, it means that there's nothing connected to it. So it's saying there's no signal. So either check the device that's plugged into it to make sure it's switched on, or plugged into the TV properly.
Beautiful.
That's
thank
the
you
first thing I'd do.
very much for that, Melvin. And Ben, as always, thank you very much for your time.
Oh, time already.
It is indeed, as they say in the classics, time flies when you're having fun. By the way, if you wish to get in contact with Ben, not a problem. All you do at benaylett.com, 1 L 2 T's in Aylett, and check out all his information there. Everything is there, including all of his contact information.
Money is too hard to earn to throw it away. So now there's a way to help protect and increase